we welcome all of the participants and all of the speakers and all of the distinguished guests to all of you to the third iteration of the International Health Conference. The main purpose of this conference is to highlight the wonderful work that's been done by volunteers in Malaysia and abroad. So there are a lot of conflicts or a lot of disasters going through the pages of the news for the past year, and there are also numerous news regarding the volunteer work that has been done in order to assist those who are most in need. The volunteer work will not be highlighted much compared to the disaster, but we would like to highlight the volunteer work that is being done by all of the organization that is involved. First, let me highlight regarding the International Health Conference that is held by the faculty. It is the third conference. It is a yearly event. So in Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences in USIM, we do health conference every year, and we do national health conference and international health conference. This is the third international conference. So the next year we will have a national health conference will be held. It is one of the effort of the faculty to introduce ourselves to the community, and especially to individuals who might not know or is not well averse to the Faculty of Medicine in USIM and the work that is being done by the faculty and its staff and students. The conference this year will help to stimulate knowledge and information among medical practitioners, allied health sciences, and students, especially in terms of volunteerism work. At IHEC 2018, an impressive scientific program that will deal with various topics of medical volunteerism will be covered. Volunteerism for 2 days, and will bring experts from all over the country and abroad in order to give you a great overview on the medical volunteerism work and scope.
Dearest guider who gave us guidance before, Prof. Shafiq, and to everyone in the audience. I've looked at the posters behind. You have students who've been to Kunming, students been to Vietnam, and you have done a lot. USIM has done a lot in volunteer work. So I think there's not much for me to add, because you already know about volunteers. So what I want to do is, I want to share with you some past experience, what we do now, and what is in the future. And for the audience, especially for the medical students, I hope when you listen to this, it will inspire you further, inshallah, to do more volunteer work, because the work that we do is so beneficial, it's important. Okay, now human relief aid, the definition is for us to save life, to alleviate suffering, and to maintain human dignity. And medical humanitarian relief aid or medical volunteerism is short term. Usually it's short term. Short term is defined as 3 months, 1 year, or a bit longer than that, not more.
Without further ado, I would like to proceed with the plenary 2 on the topic on anatomy of a medical volunteer. What have we missed by Prof. Shalima? Prof. Shalima Abdullah is an associate professor and joined Mercy as a volunteer in 1999 and was co-opted into the Executive Council in 2005.
So, Prof. Haidan has covered nearly everything that I'm going to talk, and I'm just going to reiterate, but of course it's good for you to have a topic which is repeated, because then you remember it. So I'm going to actually talk about each one of you who is interested to volunteer, what you need to have in yourself, okay? As what Prof. Haidan said, so many medical NGOs there are now. There's like 30 to 40 either national or international. Okay. So when we talk about the Sphere project, when you want to volunteer in your NGO, which cluster is your NGO subscribing to? If you look at the picture, there is 1 is medical, 2 is water sanitation, 3 is shelter, 4 is food, 5 is education. Is your NGO going to do everything, or is it going to focus on 1 or 2? Okay, so the Sphere project has a certain standard. Okay, let me give you another example. You want to give food to the orang kampung, right? How do you decide what food to give? Okay, you just say nak pakai Maggi mee boleh tak? Is that okay to give to the orang kampung? Beras? Beras, yeah. How much beras? How many kilocalories does a family need in a day? There are standards to follow. You want to give hygiene kit, ada sabun. How much sabun does a family need in a day, in a week, in a month? You just saja, okay lah, 1 bar is enough. Who tells you that 1 bar of sabun is enough, right? Like Pakistan earthquake tu, people were donating Maggi mee. People in Pakistan don't eat Maggi mee. Dia makan beras tak? What do they eat? They eat gandum. They buat chapati, right? So you give gandum, you give oil, you give sugar and salt maybe. Okay, so you need to think. So Sphere project has everything in there. So you have to be focused on what you want to donate.
See what are the challenges that she faced. I don't think I have to say to tell you what she has done. She's the vice president number 3 in the MRC. So please share.
Then we go into the houses, because apparently they didn't come to the field hospital or they didn't come to the clinic kesihatan. They stayed in the hospital because they have still the PTSD of going to the hospital or clinic kesihatan. They were scared, the fear of the traumatized because of the earthquake. So what we did, we basically evacuate this patient, pujuk them, and alhamdulillah most of them from this one day we evacuate 8 fractures, 100% confirmed fractures. So and then we had to evacuate them to the field hospital. Took about 1 hour. Our volunteers who came back probably until 2 in the morning. So this is what we do. We go in the rural areas, and inshallah this is what our local partner is very appreciative of what we do. So inshallah they are very receptive, and also we coordinate with the Dinas Kesihatan, which like our Pejabat Kesihatan Daerah, the PKD here. So they very appreciate our effort. So this is a few of our activities that we do. This is one on the right side is one of the evacuation center or pengungsian or the shelter, and our volunteers, doctor volunteers, doing PFA, breathing technique. They like to paint. When we ask them to draw, I didn't get the picture. When I asked them to draw, most of them drew Upipin. One of my colleagues, they said, "Oh, Om, Upipin tak datang ya Om?" Enggak ada, saya aja ada. Tapi kita boleh lukis Upipin.
We don't have our facilities lah. Waktu tu kita together with Prof Lukman, of course. It's not me and Luffy yang decide, because we don't have much of exposure and experience in running hospital. So we need to have experienced people. So this is Prof, I can't remember his name, tapi pediatric Prof in UM, if I'm not mistaken. Prof Arifin, yes. Prof Arifin was there untuk pergi, and basically there's if you've ever been to Phnom Penh, there's a market called Olympic Market, which they sell all sorts of medical devices, CT scan, ultrasound machine, everything. So kat situ kita orang pergi and discuss, we want ventilator, we want OT light, OT table and all that. So it costs around $40,000 US.
We have also perimeter fencing, because when you go to crisis area or ground zero, perimeter fencing ni dia penting tau untuk safeguard your safety and security. We also have hygiene kits, a shelter box, we have cooking stuff, utensil over there. Then you need to have a procurement system. For instance, for you guys to procure assets. Takkan nak pakai SOP biasa kan? Disaster nak sekarang, you pergi kena buka tender, you have to open tender, you have to get quotation, you do this, you do this, you do that. By the time you finish procurement, by end of the year, the disaster area does not need your assistance anymore. So you must look at the system of your procurement system that is shortened and effective and fast. So it could be that the organization will activate their SOP for emergency procurement. If you don't have that, you can have your finance to discuss about it.
To answer today's question, role of armed forces in HCDR, is the armed forces necessary? I will approach it by focusing on two main focus. The first focus would be explaining on what makes the Royal Medical and Dental Corps different, what makes the military health services so different than the rest. And second is to explain on our capabilities so as to justify the need for military health services to be one of the main players during disaster response. We were indoctrinated, or I would say the softer word is conditioned, to embrace the fact that we are an army officer first, then a doctor. This is in the mind of all the military doctors, that obeying orders and loyal to the command structure is everything. We cannot say no. This is the main first principle. Secondly, we were told that the king is your mother and the country is your first wife, and that your real wife becomes your second wife, and the rest, families and so on. We were also trained to be loyal to the serving government of the day. We were loyal to the BN government before. Now we are loyal to the current government. Even though we have a change in government, it doesn't matter, because the military has always been, in Malaysian Armed Forces at least, has been always loyal to the serving government of the day. We also do what others cannot do. For example, in this video, this is our deployment in Afghanistan. We were there for 9 months. IEDs, roadside bombing, harsh terrains like this, you name it. Upon receiving orders to be deployed to Afghanistan, we have to go. We cannot say no. And we were taught that serving in the armed forces is fardu kifayah, because you are doing what others cannot do, and you are doing it for the loved ones. This is another important point that you need to understand. The main focus of Malaysian Armed Forces Health Services, I'm referring to the health services, not only to the infantrymen, but mainly on the health services, is to protect and project strategic national interests. What do you mean by this? When we were deployed, the medical team were deployed to Lebanon. We established a field hospital there. Malaysian government managed to secure a Security Council seat. When we were deployed to East Timor, 2 blocks of oil reserve were awarded to Petronas. When we served in Afghanistan, the largest coal mine reserve in the world were given to TND. This is what I mean by projection of strategic national interest. Yes, on the ground we are really doing the humanitarian work, but in the end the government is gaining something out of it. Current deployment in Cox's Bazar, I'm currently the commander of Ops Starlight 2. Our current deployment in Cox's Bazar is for 6 months. So we rotate every 6 months. We're running Malaysian Field Hospital mission in Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh.
Without further ado, let's welcome Associate Prof. Dr. Muhammad Ikram with his talk entitled Volunteerism versus Volunteerism. Please welcome.
So during the emergency phase, usually about 1 or 2 weeks, or it may even extend for 1 month, depend on the extent of disaster. During the emergency phase, activities usually comprises of search and rescue, medical, treatment, evacuation, okay, followed by rehabilitation. Rehabilitation activity include temporary shelter, delivery of food, okay, delivery of items, clothing, and so on. And of course, recovery include rebuilding and so on. So probably if you look at disaster tourism, if you decide to do it, probably it'd be better to do it during the recovery or rebuilding rather than during the search and rescue, because during that time resources are limited. There will be a lot of people doing search and rescue, and you may interfere and even may cause there are safety problems. And as we know, in common disasters such as earthquake, there will be aftershocks. So this may cause injury to the people, to the tourism. Okay. For example, in Lombok and in Sulawesi recently, after the earthquake, there are aftershocks. Aftershocks after that. During the Nepal, I remember Nepal earthquake. After the earthquake, 1 week later, suddenly there's another big earthquake, which luckily nothing happened to those who responded.
So there are also practicing beyond scope. And this may lead to ethical double standard and harmful treatment. Now, I know what runs into everybody's mind is that, it's an emergency situation. We could not operate in the ideal way. But I think some of the ethical concerns are genuinely because it may have adverse effects on the overall health of the local people we are helping. So what are the ethical double standards here? The local patients have little or no choice to accept offered care. I think many times we would agree that we too have nothing to offer rather than what we bring along. But this create a widespread view of any care is better than nothing. Okay, most of us would say that any care is better than nothing. So that leads to practices such as giving useless tablets just because patients have walked far to the clinic. Acceptance of lower standard in underprivileged setting also absolve a volunteer from taking full responsibility for the delivered care. Okay, so I think maybe the critics are suggesting that there should be some balance and there should be some guidelines on how, rather than giving things because we pity the patients, we should still practice medicine as it is.
Istanbul, as a response to the British attempts to distribute booze and drugs free of charge in Istanbul in an effort to undermine the resistance against the occupation of the Turkish nation. The founders sensed the upcoming dangers of alcohol and drug addiction that resulted in a decline in the resistance against the British occupation, especially among the young people. The patriotic intellectuals established this Green Crescent with the name of Hilal al-Ahtar in Arabic and Ottoman language in Istanbul in order to warn the Turkish society. The Green Crescent is a non-profit and non-governmental organization that empowers the youth and adults through factual information about drugs so they can make informed decisions against different kinds of addictions, including alcohol, tobacco, drug, gambling, technology, etc. The society historically focused on alcohol policies until 1960s. Today, however, it deals with not only alcohol, but also with the addiction of tobacco, drugs, gambling, and even technology. The Green Crescent, being established in 1920, was given the status of Society for Public Good. Status of Society for Public Good by the Turkish government in 1934. This status is given to the organizations that serve for the benefits of the public in Turkey.
Then not only to the victim, but the family, friends, society, and the government as well. With the great effort from Green Crescent Society, Turkish, and also we have Malaysian Green Crescent Society here. All of us can make prevention and tackle this problem effectively. With that, I thank you very much for this time.
Universities that produce fake degrees, so you just pay and then they come up with a degree. So the right part is they tell people that Bell's palsy is caused by air conditioning. So 90% of us can get Bell's palsy after this because of the air conditioning, according to this post. So this is what people are actually believing. Next is the poor reading habits of Malaysians. So it's quite difficult to get people to actually read proper things. So even on our Facebook post, sometimes we panjang berjela lah, quite a lengthy post. The first comment will be, panjang sangat, this is too long. Tolong summarize sikit. So things like that actually put us off, and people just tend to be not so smart. They love storytelling methods like reading, and they don't bother to Google something. Instead, they just ask. So when people ask in the Facebook page or something, of course the seller will say, "Oh, this is the best product for you. You should use it." So this is the trend here. Next is our health-seeking behavior. The general public generally has a barrier between health professionals, and also they tend to go to see BOMO, the traditional aspects of things. And they tend to wait and see, which is quite difficult if you want to manage cancer, because they just wait until it's getting really bad, and then they come to seek medical attention.
So why do we need to write? What do you mean write? Writing is like conveying information, conveying knowledge. That's why I believe in propagating knowledge through social media. Why social media? Dr. Firdaus has mentioned just now the importance of social media in current situation. I've been writing since 2010 on social media. I started with my blog, my personal blogs. You can still log in and see my blog. However, it's dusted already. The last time I update my blog maybe last year. I can't remember. Right? So from there, I started to write for Malaysian Medical Gazette in 2013 and until now. And I wrote a few articles also on papers. So when you write on printed material, you don't really know whether people read or not. Right? How do we know? And how many people read newspaper nowadays? When was the last time you buy a newspaper? I think the last time I bought newspaper was, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago. I can't remember. Because it has been, now people are on their handphone all the time, right? But amazingly, last month, this lady came to me, bringing this newspaper card, saying about gene variant of the knee, bilateral knee pain, osteoarthritis. So she has been keeping this paper for the past 2 years and came to me from Jeranto Pahang, so just to show me that he has this paper and he wants to take picture with me. So I feel so blessed and I feel so grateful that at least I know someone read that knowledge and that information. So I feel so happy. Yeah. So maybe for some older people or older generation, they don't have handphones, maybe, right?
From the pediatric aspect as well, because there has been a lot of concern raised by WHO on the use of handphones on babies and children. Now, I banned my grandson from ever using the handphone. She's only 2 years old and she's already asking for a handphone. Now, the danger will be seen in a few years down the line. There's a lot of observation about not only psychosocial development, but problem with the neck. And the concern is about the blue light might, in the long run, affect the macula, the possibility of macular degeneration, and myopia has been observed. So, Doctor, please enlighten us further on this subject of the reason why we're so very concerned about the subject we need to talk about.
So when we put these two together, child abuse and also cyberspace, then what happens? So you have bullying, what we call cyberbullying. Okay, this affects in terms of the emotional part, the mental and psychological part. And then you can have sexual abuse. Okay, this involves grooming. Yeah, if you've heard of it, grooming, and then sexting. Okay, this is another term that we need to know. And then I would also add neglect. Yeah, some parents they use they let the children use internet without supervision and without proper advice. So when they do this, yeah, the child is in cyberspace and they are vulnerable. They are vulnerable to this abuse, yeah, and also vulnerable to get addiction. Yeah, they can be addicted to the smartphones, be addicted to the social media, be addicted to pornography, all sorts of things online. Okay, so the first two speakers were talking about the benefit or how to use the online or social media for their advantage. But now I'm talking about the dangers of being in cyberspace. So especially for children, because children and adolescents, they are in a stage where they are developing their personality. So they are naive and vulnerable. So when they get comments, for example, when they post something on the social media and they get comments, that really affects them. And they get easily cheated. And in cyberspace, this is where the online predators live. Yeah? So it can be very dangerous.
Are we want to against them, or are we want to make friends with them? So my own personal view, we need to friends with them. Sometimes kita kadang-kadang marah, betul, kita tengok, but we need to know, sometimes they don't know, they just promoting the product. Maybe somebody else doing the job for them, they just came in and just promoting the product without knowing that this product is actually not guaranteed the efficacy and also the efficacy, also the safety. So with this kind of issues with the celebrities, I think that we need to be friends with them, we need to educate them, we need to have engagement with them so that they know that whatever products that maybe they wanted to highlight or to promote later on, maybe they can have some discussion with the health personnel. So I think that is a win-win situation, and we hope that this kind of issues never occur in the future, because we know, because we are easily influenced by our favorite celebrities, and maybe from 10,000, 1,000 will buy the products. So that what we afraid of. The fourth one is actually the legal issues. It is hard to educate people, especially regarding all the overclaimed products in the social media, and some of them take this opportunity to sue. So experience from di dalam kami punya circle juga, because we knew that these products always have giving some false testimonials, and they say that product ini can cure diabetes, hypertension, gout, I don't know, 20 diseases in one capsule. That's insane, because we knew that cannot be happening. But when we start to highlight this issue, but some, kadang-kadang kita tak ada pengalaman juga. Some we actually termention dia punya produk. So what this product punya pengeluar did is actually take that status and start to doing the legal implication to this our health provider, our health educator. So we knew that these issues is actually caught some of our friends. Ada kawan-kawan kami memang dah start kena charge dekat mahkamah, in court now, and some actually been warned by the pengeluar-pengeluar produk. So we hope that we need to strategize how we want to face with these people. And what we did is actually not directly mentioning all this product, or actually we talk about product in general, so that people knew that there is some side effect that we don't know if we take some overclaim product. And actually overclaim is, we cannot say one product can actually cure all these chronic diseases. There are 20 diseases that we cannot mention that can be cured in the social media, so we can use that as well. The fifth one is online consultation. So this is what our kebimbangan, what we worry in the social media. People probably always seek for personal consultation online. I still remember when I met with Mike, what we did that we actually hear what people want to ask, and then we start to give feed the information according to the questions. But there are two different type of question. One question is actually asking for more information, and one of it is try to have some to want us to give some diagnosis. So kalau boleh tengok belah kanan tu, dia salam doktor, nak tanya ada kaitan tak berak berdarah dengan angkat weight gym. So actually they are asking for the risk factor of this issue. So that one we can answer. Contoh, boleh explain sikit tak mengenai rawatan ozon? Then this one we can answer. But another one, they ask, doktor boleh kalau kerap sakit kepala, lepas tu timbul-timbul merah kat leher, lepas tu bahaya tak? So how can I answer this question? This is diagnosis questions. We need to examine this patient, not only take the history taking. Hi doctor, is it okay if dah 3 hari check my chest rasa sakit dekat area jantung? Kalau gelak kuat-kuat bernafas pun sakit, time tidur pun menyiring pun tak boleh. So giving this kind try to solve this problem online can cause misdiagnosis. So but the problem is there are some people, netizen, that see this status or tweets, they start to be a consultant. They are not the consultant, but they are the fake consultant in online. They start giving their own opinion. They start to give every diagnosis under the sun, so that people can answer this people question. So this is the worry as well.